Monk Mode is like water. Just the right amount is the key to hydrating God tier focus. But and you just drown in misery. So feeling consistently distracted for weeks, I decided to just dive into hardcore monk mode for 60 days. I deleted all apps, no entertainment, just work. But it felt like torture at times.
Here I am at 6 a.m. I just realized I'm retarded.
Alright, I fucking ended it.
Although it wasn't for nothing, I may have found a simpler, less brutal way for monk mode. So in this video, I'm going to show you the exact 5 roadblocks I hit, of course how I overcame each of them, so you can enter a monk mode that is a lot less of the usual drowning and suffering. To start, let me show you how to deal with extreme boredom that often leads to distractions. This is the around 3rd day of doing absolutely nothing but working for the next 60 days. So I started this sort of challenge, I guess you could call it, or this little sprint on May 1st. And I figured I'd do it for the next 60 days, which is July, just sort of an arbitrary date that I picked because my birthday is around that time. But 60 days is pretty good. So I literally deleted all of my social media apps just the other few days ago. I've stopped all entertainment, and I haven't, literally have watched no entertaining things. Barely even went outside or talked to anybody for the last 3 days or so, and I will continue to do that for the next 60 days.
It was at this moment that he knew. He fucked up.
It's only 2 o'clock at this point, or maybe 3 o'clock, but anyways, there's the whole day ahead of me, and I finished my main work, which normally that's a good thing. You would think that's a good thing. But it's not that much of a good thing when you're on monk mode and have absolutely nothing that you can do except work. But I am feeling the distractions. I'm feeling the pull to the distractions. So I must find something to do. My future self, I suppose, will tell you what happened.
So you need to know when your intense boredom hits or urge to distractions. Don't just react with emotions. Deploy the distraction point multiple choice. Here's what I mean. So if you think about a multiple choice question, so you have question 1 here, and it'll say a little something, and you maybe have a couple answer options like A, B, C, D. Even if you don't know the answer 100%, it's easy as fuck. You can just pick one, oh fuck A, and at least you have a 25% chance of getting it right, even if you don't know. And usually through process elimination, you can at least maybe eliminate 2, then you have a 50% chance of guessing. But here's the thing, whenever you get distracted, right at the point where you get distracted, that is a question in your mind, right? So it's a question of, oh, are you going to do this distraction or actually do your work? It's an open response question with infinite answers, which then leads to decision fatigue and short-term bias, creating internal environment that is ripe for distractions. So once you understand that, that's why you need to actually create a multiple choice question to make it a lot easier yourself to get away from distractions. So now the part 2 of this, you just have to have one set in your head all the time. So a great multiple choice question, so you can say the question is distraction or work. And you have your answer options like A, B, C, D. Answer option A will be your tier 1 options, and then it's sort of like tier 2, tier 3, tier 4, your main work, all the way down to more rest type tasks. And how you use this multiple choice is you'll just set these beforehand. So maybe write on a piece of paper the 4 different types of tasks that you have. This D could be like sleep, meditation, working out. This could be more like learning, watching a documentary or a long form YouTube content. And B task could be actually reading something complex, nonfiction. And A could be actually doing your work. So whatever goal that you have right now, working towards it legitimately. Once you have all those written down, you pick based on your energy. So if right now you haven't done your A tier task, but you're very well rested, maybe you woke up and you're super clear, then that's when you pick A. That's when A is the right answer. But if you have a little bit less energy, maybe you already finished A, your brain's winding down a little bit for the day, maybe it's around 2 o'clock and you're getting a little bit tired, then now B is the right answer. Of course, if you're super worn down, I think a good way to figure out whether you're worn down is just grip your fist as hard as you can. If you can actually grip it really hard, then you're probably pretty well rested. If you can't, you feel like, oh, you just can't use energy, then you might need rest, which means D is the right answer. So pick based on energy. And the third part of using the multiple choice correctly is have the multiple choice in front of you at all times. So again, if you had this written on a piece of paper of all your 4 different tasks that you genuinely want to work on in categories like read, for example, or work, whatever, just have it in front of where you work. Have on a piece of paper, on a notebook, on your desk where you work all the time, or in front of your monitor. Just have that multiple choice there Honestly, if you can keep it in your head, if these are very common habits, that's good as well. Then with this distraction point simplification alone, it will disarm like 100% of the distractions because you bring the good options to your forefront, making it way, way, way easier to pick something productive. But that is only able to keep you in the right direction. How the fuck do you keep going for like 1, 2, 3 months in monk mode, right? This will only fix you in that certain point. Well, that is where you need to figure out the optimal time for monk mode.
I just realized I'm retarded. I said that I started this 60-day monk mode challenge starting May 1st, and it's now May 9th, going to be May 10th. And I said I was going to do it to the end of July, which is around where my birthday is, and that would be 60 days. But I was just looking at the calendar, and that's fucking 90 days! I don't think I can do this hardcore level of monk mode for 90 days. And honestly, doing like semen retention and nofap is hard for me as well. So doing that on top of everything else for 90 days is actually crazy now that I think about it. So, but I can handle 21 days. So I will at least do that.
So obviously I fucked the timing part here real big. So if you don't want to do the same thing, here's practically how to plan your duration of monk mode to balance both impact and sustainability at the same time, always getting the maximum out of it. And the first step is obviously to just pick a timing that seems right initially. And there's a 3-part framework that I think is best. So first you have your minimum viable, then you have your significant rewiring, and you last have the deep neurological reset. The minimum viable is just a quick pattern interrupt, the absolute minimum to sort of build a habit. I think is best to use when you're getting out of a rut, always in distraction, sort of like how I said I was in the beginning before I started the hardcore monk mode. This is 21 to 30 days. Then the significant rewiring, this is sort of like to test your limits a little bit. Really see if you've got your habits truly ingrained. If you have a little bit of a larger product and maybe you're building a product, it's a great time to do this as well. This is 31 to 60 days. Then the deep neurological reset, so 3 months to about 2 months. This is pretty big. Maybe you could do a big project during this time. So based on what you really want, you pick that up front. Then you go into part 2, which is to re-evaluate. So during your time in monk mode, you always want to be re-evaluating how many days you actually survive. Remember, like the point of monk mode isn't to survive a certain amount of days. It's not like, oh, I need to get exactly a 90-day streak and nofap. It's not like that. You shouldn't use monk mode like that because you end up failing, and once you fail, it just gets worse and spirals into distractions because it's tying to that streak day. This is more a tool for leveraging and leveling up your ability to focus. So you already reached 21 days, for example, but you've set your timing for like 60 days. So this part here. In the re-evaluation phase, once you reach 21 days, and let's say you're like, oh fuck, I'm feeling really tired, almost feeling burnt out at this point, you can obviously just try to keep pushing, but you're very likely to burn out at that point, right? If you evaluate yourself correctly. So don't be afraid to end it right there. You already reached the minimum days. Ending it is not going to kill your progress. You can always start another monk mode. Think about that. You have the progress already made. So now that you have the optimal time frame, you are ready to start real monk mode. But as you might imagine, just working for a solid 1 to 3 months is ripe for burnout no matter what. And this is even worse if you can't sleep since your mind is stuck in work mode all the time. You can't stop thinking, right? Well, let me show you how I overcame this exact problem.
Here I am at 6 a.m. because actually it's 5:30, but I kind of had a hard time sleeping. I actually had a hard time sleeping for maybe about 2 days, day 13 into this hardcore monk mode. My future self can talk about exactly why.
So when your brain can't switch off, I think you really only have one of two problems. It's either you have a ton of shit to do, so then you're anxious to get going on that work, or you did, or done, I did typo here, done a shit ton already, and now you're anxious about what to do next. Most people will either grind through, they'll go journal, do some planning on some complex Notion board, but that only creates more work and then stuck with more thoughts than you started with in the first place. So how I really fix both of these problems is by using a mental solution for this mental problem, not trying to go off and do some weird productivity guru shit. And it's with something I call the dam effect within your mind. So if you imagine your brain is a dam, so if this dam right here was actually your brain, and the water is your thoughts, or how many things you believe you have to do inside your mind, how much information is in your mind. Obviously, if your dam is too full and it starts like pouring over the top, then you're overflowing with things to do, which means it's problem one. You have a ton of things to do, but you're anxious to get going. Or obviously, if it's too empty and basically it's all dried up here and there's no water flowing out of your dam, then you've done a shit ton already. You let out all the water and now you're anxious to what to do next. So the first step is just to ask yourself. So number one, ask yourself, which is the problem that you're facing in your dam right now, in your brain? Then you can go to part two, which is if you figure out that the problem is your dam is too empty. So this option right here, problem two, all your ideas are dried up. Your inputs that you have in your brain, the information that allows you to create outputs or have like creative ideas, solve problems, it's all gone. Consciously stop, at least for like a few hours or a few days, which is key here. Honestly, maybe even for like up to a week. And have time just to not mindlessly scroll or anything like that. This is not time to relax. It's to actually get high quality inputs. So relevant consumption for whatever goal or whatever work that you're working on within your monk mode. You can read a book. Let me just paste this list in that I have. So you can probably do any of these things here, which is read books in your field related to your goals. You can watch an in-depth lecture, documentary, or high-quality educational content. Study with successful people within your domain. So like maybe you have a mentor or like a buddy that you like to work with. You can learn a new sort of sub-skill that complements your main work. So I don't know if you were a copywriter, for example, you can learn how to make VSLs or something. But then with that, you should fix problem two. So onto problem one. So if you have a ton to do, so now you're anxious to get going, or basically your dam is too full. Overflowing with water, overflowing with information in your mind or inputs. So you need to do more output to get rid of this feeling of anxiousness. And it's sort of all about timing. It's either close to sleeping time or it's in the midday. If it's near sleeping time, usually I found within my monk mode, I try to push through a little bit more, and that ends up being not a good idea because your mind gets stuck in work mode and you can't sleep. So here, instead of working more, although you need to put more output out, you really feel like you need to do more work. Instead, to just get those outputs out of your mind, write it down on a piece of paper. At least get the outputs or the different tasks that you have swimming around in there out of your memory, out of your current thoughts. Obviously, if it's midday right now, just find the highest priority thing that you need to do that's stuck in your mind and just do it. That is the best way to clear that specific anxiousness within your mind. And this will maintain your mental capacity within your entire monk mode, keeping your inputs and your outputs balanced. But monk mode isn't just about mental struggle, right? There's external pressures like family obligations or some people demanding your time and attention that pull you out of your zone, out of your focus. Well, I encountered that exact problem. So let me show you the one simple mental framework that you can always use to protect your progress. Maybe 20 minutes ago, my family was pressuring me super hard to go on a family dinner, but I held my ground and I continued to just stay home and eat myself real quick. Is it really going to make a difference in the next week or 2 weeks or even like 3 months? Probably not. You're not going to see anything. But maybe 10 years down the line, when you're making insanely fast progress, okay, well, what is the difference even if you only wasted like an hour or two? So I know people are going to emotionally pressure you, and as people have emotionally pressured me, but just stick to your logical mind. If you really think it through, weigh the cost benefits, and think further, maybe like 5-10 years, what is this decision going to do? Usually you'll find the right answer, whether it feels like the right answer to other people or not. So the thing here is most people think with emotions, considering whether they'll regret the decision or not, or they put on a shield of determination to will themselves back into work. But the emotions and the willpower often fail, as you probably know. So why not think about it much simpler, like a math equation, which is the way I like to think about it. So let's say your time is worth $500 an hour, which honestly, maybe it's not currently right now, but in the future, like 5 years later, your time is probably going to worth like $500 an hour, no problem. So from a 2-hour dinner, this is literally worth $1,000. Is it worth it? Is that dinner worth $1,000 of your future time to you right now? Probably not, but saying no to external factors is probably a lot easier said than done. So with that logical reframe in mind, here's a very practical framework that you can run through in your head to make it even easier. So step one is to just ask this question. Can you genuinely do more focused work right now? So if the answer is yes to this question, then the next question to ask is this event absolutely critical? If it's like a funeral, a wedding or something of like a really good friend maybe, or someone's like literally on their deathbed and you like want to visit them one last time, not like your fucking cousin's cat's birthday. That shit doesn't matter. In this case, if it is a yes, then just go. But if it is a no and it is not critical, then this is one you want to say like straight up, fuck no. Because your work is not done yet. The future bucks account depends on it. That like $1,000 or whatever, how many hours it's going to cost you. So just decline at this point because you're actually not available. You need to do your work. But then we want to look at the no scenario, which means you actually finished your work for the day, or you don't have any critical work right now. This is you're genuinely mentally depleted for today. You can't work anymore. So you need to ask the question of, will attending this event negatively impact your energy, focus, or schedule, or whatever you've planned for tomorrow's work? Basically, is it a late night that will fuck up your sleep? Or are there people there that will like spew negativity into your mind, which will make you doubt your work for tomorrow? Or are you going to eat a shit ton of garbage junk food or drink alcohol that was going to actually fuck you up for the next days? If the answer to that question is yes, then it is also a fuck no. Because your priority is to protect your tomorrow's performance. In this case, your brain's already mentally cooked. Just go rest, do some like light input work maybe, or go to bed early. This is the best thing you could do, not go to that social thing that will fuck you in the asshole. But if it is a no, and it's not actually going to fuck tomorrow's work, or at least you don't think so, so you'd be able to genuinely do work tomorrow. This is, I think, honestly, this is a very rare scenario. But in this case, you might consider this non-critical social engagement during your deep monk mode. I know a lot of people say like during monk mode you should be in solitude, but no you should not. It really doesn't matter that much. Just really ask yourself if it is truly worth it. If it's with good people, maybe sometimes it is. If it's not, then it's not. So go maybe. This will always protect your focus from external factors like high value assets, because your focus is a high value asset. So treat it like one. And most likely, even knowing this, making good progress, you'll probably feel like ending your monk mode at some point. Feel like there's no point to it. Your motivation is just gone. You lose it in the middle of nowhere. So around 2 weeks, I was in this exact situation. And honestly, I don't know if I have the perfect answer to solve this yet, but let me show you the better and simpler way to monk mode that I came up with.
It's the morning of day 18 now. And just before I went to sleep yesterday, I watched a video with Alex Ramosi talking about work. So he basically said that he just keeps pushing himself harder and harder because it's almost like he has a version of himself that's whipping him in the back all the time. And he realizes that he can take all the whips. So if he can take one more, why not another one and another one? And he just keeps going further and further, working harder and harder. And the reason he does that is a concept that I mentioned, a psychological effect of sort of like social consistency. He's teaching other people to be focused and work hard all the time, which if you know Alex Ramosi, that's what he does. So that's the version of himself that's whipping him in the back. He has to implement his own teachings or he's just full of shit. And I'm sort of in a similar situation right now. I sort of want to end this extreme monk mode, but now that I realize that I can actually take it and I know that it's good for me, or in a sense that it is theoretically or technically, logically, in every sense more productive than if I introduced a couple of episodes of anime back, then I should keep going according to Alex Ramosi, and he's a very successful guy, so why should I not do it? At this point, I don't know. I'll just make it to day 21 first and I'll decide from there. Of course, Alex Ramosi is not on like extreme monk mode all the time, or even like monk mode. He does a few things that are like quote unquote entertaining occasionally, so that's one thing. Although the other thing is, I think you need to realize that he is significantly more successful, which means he does not need to work. But I am not that successful, so I should be working harder than him, maybe. But then this could get into another concept of impatience. Most things take longer than you think they will. and then you fall off them and you stop working on them and you go to a shiny object, because since you thought it was like, oh shit, this will only take a year, but in reality it'll take 3 years, and you didn't even have to change anything. You could have done the exact same thing over and over again and you would have made it in 3 years, but you thought it took one, so you gave up. That's the concept of impatience, and it makes a lot of people lose focus. So by doing this monk mode all the time, maybe it doesn't actually speed it up enough in order to offset that sort of impatience, which means if you add back maybe something a tiniest bit entertaining, like for example, Iman Gaji, he has like one of the things that he mentioned in I think one of his videos is cigars is sort of his like one little thing that he never really gave up. But yeah, a bit of a crossroads, a bit of a hard thing to decide.
So if you're in that situation and genuinely at your breaking point like I was, this is the exact process that I use to keep going. So first part of the process is ask yourself this question. Did you hit a monk mode milestone? And by milestone is the different ranges that I mentioned. So like the 21 to 30 days and so on to like up to 90. If it is no right now, then shut the fuck up and just keep going, because your brain is probably just in that withdrawal stage if you haven't hit that at least 21 days yet. So this feeling that you're getting is probably just a good sign that you're resetting right now. If it is yes though, then this is a little bit different. Then you want to go on to the next step, which is to get your fix. So allow yourself at this point, just take 1 to 3 days and indulge in whatever you're missing most. So for me, I genuinely just wanted to watch some anime. And I know it sounds counterproductive. It is literally unproductive to do this thing that is not productive, right? But if you just force yourself through and don't do this, that's usually what leads to burnout. But then if you do it, you will likely realize that there's an expectation reality gap in that 21 days or however many weeks that you've not done this activity. You're like, oh fuck, you think in your mind like, shit, that stuff's so good, I really want it. But then you go and watch it and you realize, oh, it wasn't actually that as good as I imagined it. It wasn't as good as I remembered. So with that realization in mind, or the third part of this process, once you've indulged a little bit, you just go right back into monk mode. And this turns your potential failure point, usually where people relapse hard, into a recommitment strategy. Getting your fix becomes the better alternative than trying to consistently squeeze out a few episodes overnight or a few hours of games every single night, which eventually will just lead into getting addicted. You instead spend less time collectively in this distraction due to not craving it during your monk mode, and it eliminates switching time between your work and play while still getting in your play every like sort of few weeks. You're basically batching it all together. But at this point you might be wondering, oh, what if I don't have a goal in the first place to enter monk mode? I know if you watch this far you may be like, what the fuck, right? But if you don't have a goal right now, top link in the description, check it out. It is a quiz, a monk mode clarity quiz that I will personally review all the answers, write up a custom reply for you with pointers that might help you figure out like what your goal or mission might be to tackle during monk mode, and it's completely free, at least for now. But anyways, this is the new way to use your monk mode. But honestly, monk mode is still not easy, right? It's always going to be hard. Let me leave you with 2 actionable activities, super productive, but still fun, that you can do during your monk mode.
One thing I just realized that every single time I start the work, even at this day 21 of monk mode, I feel this sort of impending doom. Like I don't want to do it. But since I'm on monk mode, I just do it because like I mean there's nothing else to do. But I've been wondering, is there a way to just get over this impending doom? Like you sort of have this fear of starting the task, like it's somehow going to kill you. But it's just a little work, and I was doing the same work yesterday. There's really no reason to have this feeling. And usually, when I genuinely do the work, it's quite easy. It just seamlessly sort of goes on for hours. But my future self will tell you the thing that I've done.
So when your task dread hits, you can and should just try to just do it. Do the task, right? But where most people fail is when they genuinely can't get into a proper state of focus, proper state of work, and then try to continue and just keep forcing them trying to focus when they don't have the physical ability to. That is when the distraction really creeps in and you just unconsciously gravitate. So instead you can try one or honestly both of these activities that are just a great replacement for any distractions whenever you are feeling it. And the first one is an AI brainstorm buddy. It's best used in 3 different scenarios, which is right here. If at any time during your monk mode that you're feeling stuck, you can ask it for ideas. Just ask it the problem and you can just talk to it. Or you can literally tell it, like if you're not feeling it right now, you're sort of tired, literally tell AI like, oh, I'm not feeling it right now. And obviously give it context to the situation and ask it, help convince me to keep working. And it'll sort of like give you that little bit of motivation, sort of like asking a good buddy to convince you to keep you accountable. But obviously it's AI, so it's always available. And third is you're feeling tired and this is my goal. What else can I do that's still productive? This is when you're sort of lost and you're not really sure what to do, but feel you can do a little bit more work. And I believe like Gemini 2.5 is honestly the best AI that I use, but obviously you use whatever AI that you want. And the second option is something that I got from David Goggins that I saw relatively recently. He calls it the 10-5 routine. So he'll just do 5 pull-ups and then 10 push-ups and he'll just keep on doing it. You can see how many tallies he has here. So he's done like hundreds. If your mental energy is used up, the best thing to do is something physical, right? So this is where this routine comes in. And what's good about it is you can just mix this up. If there's a particular muscle that you want to work out, you could be like, instead of pull-ups, you can do maybe like 10 rows and then 10 push-ups, or like 10 squats and then 10 hip thrusts, or like even with weights, you can do like, 5 curls and then 5 tricep extensions. So with that, you have the activities and also all the simple tactics for the most common roadblocks in monk mode, and also habits that you can use long-term focus, whether you're doing monk mode or not. But the thing is, if your brain is insanely cooked as fuck right now and you get constantly distracted, never even aware of when you specifically get distracted, like don't even realize when you get distracted, even the best monk mode strategy, tactics, habits, whatever you want to call them, they're going to fail, right? So watch this video next where I'll show you the 11 invisible distractions that you can quit right now to 9 extra focus with exact steps that I personally use and use within this hardcore monk mode. So your next monk mode attempt will be yielding maximum results.
Fuck. I think I'm going to end this monk mode. I'll go to the end of this day 21, which is 3 weeks, about the time it takes, the minimum time it takes to form a habit, according to science. It's a little rocky, the information there, but it's good enough. I'll go to the end of the day. I'll see what happens, but I don't think I'm going to continue.
All right, I fucking ended it.